Well, okay. Shalom, shalom to everyone out there. Shalom, first and foremost. Let's start this off by giving all honor, thanks, praise, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, which is the Most High, and His Son Christ. Secondly, much love and support to all of the sincere brothers and sisters out there who spreading this biblical truth with all faith, endurance, and sincerity to all of our people out there with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to understand. Once again, this your brother Yahweh Yasharal from the sea souls of Israel, the rocks of offense, and also the ambassadors for righteousness, the restorers of paths, and the repairers of the breach, and the advocates for Christ. Once again, dropping you another video. So, brothers and sisters, what this video is going to be about is consisting so-called veganism and vegetarianism, right? So, what sparked me to do this video, not only is this like another extension to the video that I've done concerning this matter a few years back concerning veganism, vegetarianism, and meatitarianism, right? But also to combat the doctrine that's going on amongst us brothers and sisters of the faith, and not only within the faith, but just around the world. How people are pushing this veganism thing and vegetarianism thing, and how we're supposed to be vegans, right? Now, the reason why I combat that is because, I keep the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High, and the ordinances to the best of my ability, right? So if you want to be a so-called Christian, or if you're keeping the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High of the faith, then there's nowhere in the scriptures that permits our people to only be vegans, man, right? There's nowhere in the scriptures where it says that we shouldn't be eating animals' flesh. As a matter of fact, in order to truly 100% serve the Most High, you have to eat animals' flesh if you're going to keep His ordinances, like His three major festivals, which is the Passover, the Feast of First Fruits, and then the Feast of Tabernacles, right? And not only that, you have to serve the Most High with those ordinances for every single new moon, right? As a matter of fact, starting tonight, which is May the 19th, new moon, when the moon is fully submerged in darkness, right? And for the ordinances for the new moon, you have to offer up to the Most High your lamb and your bread and your wine, okay, which is animal's flesh. And then if you don't have any lamb or any ram or whatever, or some sheep, then you can have some bullock, which is steak, or you can have your goat, which is your goat meat. Okay, so for every single new moon, you have to give that to the Most High as an ordinance every single new moon. Okay, so if you're a brother or a sister in the faith and you're so-called vegan, right, which is a choice vegan, by the way, you're not a natural vegetarian, because a natural vegetarian haven't eaten animal's flesh his whole entire life. It's like they're allergic to animal's flesh, right? So if you're a so-called choice vegan and you claim to be keeping the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High, then how are you fully keeping the ordinances, right? For every three major festivals, you have to eat animal's flesh. For every new moon, if you're keeping it, you have to eat animal's flesh, man. Okay, so how you fully, truly serving the Most High if you're a so-called vegan, right? So someone must be capping. You must not be truly serving the Most High, because you have to eat animal's flesh. And just like I said before, there's nowhere in the scriptures that tells us that we have to be vegans. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a video to bash vegans or whatever. If you want to be a vegan, for like health purposes, or if you want to lose some weight or whatever, then fine, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? But in order to truly serve the Most High 100%, man, right, or woman, you have to eat animal's flesh. You got to do that, right? So if you want to put it like this, right, if you don't want to eat animal's flesh for like, say, 29 or 30 days out of the month, you can do that, right? You could be a vegan, right? But for that first day of the month, okay, for that very first day of the month, which is the new moon, you have to serve the Most High by eating animal's flesh, which is a lamb or a bullock or a goat. Okay, so you have to eat animal's flesh, man. There's no way getting around that. Okay, and if you're not doing that, then you're not serving the Most High. Okay, so just like I said, if you want to be a vegan for 29 or 30 days, if you want to lose weight, if you want to do it for health purposes, right, then you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but you can't say that you're truly serving the Most High 100%, man, if you're not eating animal's flesh, man. Okay? And we're going to get into that. And there's scriptures that they love to use and twist, which is in the book of Genesis chapter 1 and in the book of Jeremiah chapter 8, to prove that we're not supposed to eat animal's flesh, man. But a lot of them are reading that scripture out of context, because if you go a few verses up and a few verses down, it tells you the reason why these things are said in these verses, man. Right? So, just to get to the start of it, right, we're going to go to the book of Colossians chapter 2, right, for all of the people out there who love to judge people who don't eat meat, and for the people out there who does eat and they love to judge the people who don't eat meat, right? So it's like a whole lot of judging going around amongst our people, man, right? A lot of our people are shaming the others for eating meat, and then you have the other ones that does eat meat are shaming other people for not eating meat, right? But this is what Paul says, man, in the book of Colossians, the second chapter, right? So let's go to it real quick. Okay, so here we go. As you can see here on my screen, we're in the book of Colossians, the second chapter. And we're going to jump all the way down to verse 16. All right, and it reads. So to kick start things off, as it says here, let no man, right, or woman, therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, all right, which is the high holy days of the Most High, the high holy days of the scriptures, right? Not these so-called vain, so-called holidays of the world, all right? Or of the what? The new moon, which is this evening, as a matter of fact, right? Or of the Sabbath days, all right? So just to clear things up, this is May the 18th, so according to the ancient Hebraic timing, our brand new day starts at evening. All right. So at sunset tonight, which is on May the 18th, is going to be May the 19th at evening. All right. So that's going to be the start of the new moon. Right. Or of the Sabbath days. Okay. So we're not supposed to be judging anyone who's keeping the Sabbath day neither. Now, this is not to say, like, if you want to choose your own day to be the Sabbath day, like if you want to choose it to be on a Monday, or if you want to choose it to be on a Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. No, this is not what this is talking about. You're supposed to be keeping the days in the correct timing, man. All right. You got to be keeping the ordinances properly. Okay. So if you're doing it correctly, which is going from the new moon and then counting your 7 days from that, then that's good. Okay. Now, technically, the Sabbath day to us is known to be the seventh day of the week, which is Saturday, Friday evening to Saturday evening. So now, being that the new moon is on a Friday, now it's really going to be from Friday to Saturday, okay, because we're counting from the new moon. All right. So you're not supposed to be judging each other for keeping the Sabbath day. All right. But unfortunately, the sinners of our nation, they're going to do that anyway, because they think that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with, right? Verse 17, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ, meaning that we're following Christ by keeping these ordinances, man, right? So let's go to a verse that they love to use, which is in the book of Genesis chapter 1, right? To promote their so-called veganism, okay? Now, just like I said before, this is not a video to bash vegans or anything like that, because I know a couple of vegans. I even have a couple of people that's in my family, which is vegans, right? But they also call themselves so-called Christians, right? But you can't be a so-called Christian if you're not eating animals' flesh, because Christ, he came to instill the laws, statutes, and commandments back into our people, man, right? The sinners of our nation. He didn't come for the righteous, because the righteous was already keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. So he came for the sinners, okay, who've been lost in doctrine like this right here from the Greco-Romans, because during that time, Herod and Pilate, they was ruling over Jerusalem, right? And then they came with that doctrine, okay, that veganism doctrine, all right, just as they do right now. They're the main ones that's pushing veganism, okay? And then our people are just following suit. And this is leading you further and further away from the Most High, because this, like I said before, if you want to truly serve the Most High, you have to be a eater of animals' flesh, because this is what he requires on his high holy day, right? But this is one of the verses that they love to use, right? As it says right here in verse 29. And the Most High Power said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. Okay, meaning that all of the herbs, the vegetables, and the fruits, they bear their own seed, in which you can plant back into the earth to grow some more, right? Which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Okay. Now, right here, this is why they say the real meat is the fruit or the vegetables. Okay. But this isn't what the Most High commanded us only to eat. All right. But we're going to get into that. Verse 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. So the Most High is letting us know that not only has he given fruits and vegetables to us to consume, but he also gave it to all of the beasts of the field, all of the fowls of the air, okay, and every creeping thing. All right. So this is not solely talking about that we're supposed to be vegans, okay? And this is before Adam and Eve, they was cursed, okay, before they sinned, for Eve listening to the serpent of the garden, right? So this is way before that, okay? Now, during this time right here, you didn't have sin into the world, okay? You didn't have animals out there killing each other and eating each other, the predators of the field, right? So right here is way before sin entered into the world. But unfortunately, from Eve listening to the doctrine of the serpent in the garden, that brought sin into the world, because she caused sin to fall upon Adam, right? And then from that point on, even up to now, the ground is cursed, right? As it says here in the book of Genesis chapter 3, in which we're about to get into right now. Okay. So here we go right here. We're going to jump down to verse 17. And then, of course, the story between Eve and the serpent in the garden, in chapter 3. You can read that for yourselves when you get time, right? But we're going to go straight to the point here, as it says in verse 17. And unto Adam he said, who's the he? That's the Most High, right? Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. Okay, so the reason why the Most High cursed Adam, because he was supposed to be the head. Okay, he was supposed to be over the wife. All right, he's not supposed to be hearkening on to the voice of his wife in sin. Okay, in continuation, and has eaten of the tree. All right, now, for those who's well seasoned, of course, they already know this isn't speaking of a literal tree, right? Just as the false doctrine that's going around in churchianity and Roman Catholicism, that it was a literal fruit that Eve bit of and fed to Adam, all right? But that's like for a whole different topic. In continuation, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Curse is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life, which is Adam's life, right? Okay, so the Most High cursed the ground. Okay, so for everyone to go around who's claiming veganism, which is choice veganism or choice vegetarianism, okay, the ground is cursed. So a lot of them like to say that, the fruits and the vegetables, it has life in it or whatever, and you can pluck it from the tree or you can pluck it from the vine or whatever, and it will still be alive. But let that fruit or that vegetable sit for a few days off that vine and see what happened. Or pluck it from the tree and let it sit for a few days and see what happened. Right? So the moment you take it from the tree or you take it from the vine, it's going to die. Okay? There's no ands, if, buts about it. All right? Verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Okay, so because the Most High have cursed the ground, we're going to have thorns and thistles come up amongst it. Okay, and it's going to be hard to pluck without us pricking ourselves on those thorns and thistles. All right, in a literal sense here. Verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. Okay, so right here, the Most High is permitting us to eat bread. All right, in which you can say that bread is made from the wheat, which comes from the field, which is a vegetable. Okay, but right here, this is letting you know that this is not the only thing that the Most High permitted us to eat, which is fruits and vegetables. He's letting us also know that we're going to eat bread. All right, so thou return onto the ground, for out it was thou taken. Okay, because the Most High made us all from the rich soil of the ground, right? For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Okay? So the Most High is letting you know right there that fruits and vegetables is not the only thing that we're going to be consuming while we're here on earth, right? Until we go back into the dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, as the world like to say, right? So let's go to the book of Jeremiah, which is another thing that the so-called vegans love to use, right? And we're going to go to chapter 8. Okay, so here we go in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 8. And just to get straight to the point, we're going to jump right down to the verse that's always used by these so-called vegans, right? As it says here, how do we say we are wise? Okay, so in this point, when it says wise, that means you have knowledge and wisdom of the laws, statutes, and commandments, right? And the law of the Lord, which is the Most High power, is with us. Lo, certainly in vain made he it. The pen of the scribes is in vain. Okay, so this is not to say that the Most High made the laws, statutes, and commandments in vain or vanity, because he the one that made it in all righteousness for us to follow. And then it says right here, the pen of the scribes is in vain. All right, so what they're saying here is according to the law, what the scribes here, their writing is in vain, in which tells us, or from the Most High, he's urging us to have our sacrifices for his high holy days and his ordinances, right? As far as the new moon, which is this evening. Okay, so right here, this isn't solely speaking about, how the laws are in vain, but according to this timing, this is in the book of Jeremiah, right? So during this time right here, the southern kingdom, we were in captivity to the ancient Babylonians, right? Just as we are today to the present day Babylonians. So a lot of our people started going off, okay? And they started joining themselves to the ancient Babylonians and following their customs. So that's the reason why the scribes, their pen is in vain, because they started keeping their customs just as today. You have the so-called church preacher, the Roman Catholic preacher. Okay, you have a lot of our people are joined to Hinduism, Buddhism. They follow an ancient so-called philosophy of the Greco-Romans. All right, the secret societies, the Divine Nine. Okay, you have African panism. All right, mixing and mingling with the other nations that's of Africa, man. And we're not supposed to be doing that. We're not supposed to be joining ourselves to the other nations, right? Just because they may have the same skin color or whatever, in which their skin is a little darker, but our people could be dark too. But we're not of the same nation of people. We're not of the same lineages, all right? So this is what this is speaking about. This isn't talking about the law, which is the dietary law, is written in vain. It's talking about how our people left off from keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Right? So this is the reason why it says this here. If you go up, right? How do we say we are wise and the law of the Lord is with us? Okay, so how can you say that you're wise talking about that we're supposed to be vegan? Okay, well, the law clearly states that we're supposed to be giving our sacrifices to the Most High, man. Okay, which is our lamb, right? Our bullock, which is the steak, or the goat, which is the goat meat. All right, so you can't say that you're wise in the law, as it says here again, and the law of the Lord is with us. All right, so it's not talking about how the dietary laws is vain, right? So if you go a few steps up, just like I was saying, and it's going to explain to you what it's solely speaking about, right? Verse 2, and they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the host of heaven whom they have loved. Who's the they? That's our people, man, right? And whom they have served. Okay, so this is what our people are doing. They're serving sun gods, which is so-called Cesare Borgia, all right, which is Heru, also known as Horus of ancient Egypt, right? You have so-called Queen Isis of Egypt, which is the moon goddess, all right, Semiramis, which is another moon goddess from ancient Babylon, okay, that started all of the sins of the world, okay? And then you have Nimrod and Tammuz. Nimrod was the first son, so-called God, lowercase g, and then you have his son Tammuz, which is the rebirth of the sun god. Okay, so this is who our people are worshiping today. All right, and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked. All right, they're walking in the ordinances of these other nations, man. Right? They're keeping so-called Christmas, which have nothing to do with Christ whatsoever. That's the reason why I call it Xmas, all right? They're keeping so-called New Year in the depth of winter, all right? And then turned right around and kept Lupercalia, which is Valentine's Day, which is an ancient Greco-Roman love pagan festival, man, right? So they're walking in the ordinances of the sun, moon, and the host of heaven gods, man, right? And whom they have sought and whom they have worshipped, they shall not be gathered nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. Okay, so that's how pissed off the Most High was at our people, man. When they dropped dead in ancient Babylon, then they're going to be as dung on the earth. People is not going to care about them, all right? Just as today. You know, this society right here, they don't care if our people die or get shot down like a dog in the street or whatever, right? Verse 3. And the death shall be chosen rather than life. Okay, so just as it says in the book of Deuteronomy, when the Most High says, I have set life and death before you, rather choose life, which is the keeping of the laws, statutes, and commandments, right? But unfortunately, our people choose death even today by following the vain customs of the other nations, man, right? And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places whether I have driven them. Who's the I? That's the Most High. So he's letting you know that he's the one that have our people in captivity because of our disobedience, man, right? saith the Lord, which is the Most High of hosts, which is the creation, right? Verse 4. Moreover, thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Most High Power, shall they fall and not rise? Shall he turn away and not return? Verse 5. When then is this people of Jerusalem slidden back by a perpetual backsliding? Okay, so when you're backsliding from the Most High, you're not keeping the law, statutes, commandments. You're keeping the vain customs of the world, right? They hold fast deceit. Okay, they hold fast to so-called keeping the new moon during the bright full moon. Okay, they hold fast to keeping so-called New Year's in the depth of winter. They hold fast to keeping so-called Mother's Day that just passed a few days ago, which is really solely not about your mom, man. That's about Semiramis and Queen Isis and Virgin Mary, man. Right? All moon goddesses. Okay? They hold fast to so-called Memorial Day, which is coming up. Right? And then the 4th of July and then Labor Day. Right? So this is the deceit that our people are holding fast to, which is spoken about in verse 8, man, right? They refuse to return, okay? Our people refuse to return back to the Most High. They don't want to keep the law, statutes, commandments. A lot of our people are not going to be keeping the new moon, okay? A lot of our people are not going to be keeping Sabbath, okay? Verse 6. I hearkened and heard, but they spake not aright. No man repented, okay? Of his wickedness. All right, this is not talking about the dietary law, man. Okay, saying, what have I done? Okay, so this is what our people say, man. Right, they commit all kinds of sin, and then they turn around and say to their neighbor, what have I done? I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not in sin. Right, everyone turned to his course, his own heart, as the horse rusheth into the battle. And then you jump down, right? Yea, the stalk in the heaven knoweth her appointed times, all right, in which we should know our appointed times, all right. We should know the correct new moon timing, all right. We should know the correct Sabbath timing, you know, how to calculate it from the ancient Hebraic timing, the calendar, right? And the turtle and the crane and the swallow observed the time of their coming. But my people, who is my people? That's the Most High's chosen people, man, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negroid descent, man, right? But my people know not the judgment of the Most High Power. Okay, and then it goes into saying in verse 8, how do we say we are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Lo, certainly in vain made he it. Okay, so this is what they're saying because they're in sin and they don't believe in keeping the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. It's not talking about the dietary law, right? The pen of the scribes is in vain, okay, because they're following the customs of the other nations, man, right? Verse 9. The wise men are ashamed, they are dismayed and taken. Taken where? Into captivity. Okay, taken into utter darkness, right? Lo, they have what? Rejected the word of the Most High Power. Okay, they reject the dietary law by telling people that we have to be vegans. Okay, we can't consume animals' flesh. Okay, but you have to do it for the new moon. All right, you have to do it for the 3 major festivals. Okay. And what wisdom is in them? Okay, so you don't have no wisdom if you're going around talking about that you have to be a vegan, right? Verse 10. Therefore, I will give their wives unto others, and their fields to them, and they shall inherit them. For everyone from the least even unto the greatest is given into what? To covetousness, all right? Which is a breaking of the 10th commandment of the Most High in the book of Exodus chapter 20, right? From the prophet even unto the priest, everyone dealeth what? Falsely. All right. For they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Okay, so just as in ancient Babylon, they doing that today, talking about how it's so peaceful. Everything is fine. Everything is dandy. We don't have to worry about anything. Everything is going to be all right, right? But a lot of people are so-called dropping from the charagma, okay? A lot of them dropping from that test, those contaminated tests, right? But every time you turn on the news, you don't see anything concerning this right here, right? Because they want to give you that false narrative, okay? They want to deceive you. They want to gaslight you into thinking that everything is fine, man. All right? And then on top of that, unfortunately, as it says here, you have the so-called pastors of the Christian church, right? And Roman Catholicism, okay? You have the so-called even brothers and sisters that's of the faith, all right? Dealing falsely with the brethren and the sister, man. Talking about how certain things aren't certain things, okay? Misleading you, okay? Dragging you straight to hell, man, all right? So this is what's going on here in verse 11, man. For they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace, all right? So that's what that's referring to, man, right? It's not talking about the dietary law, okay? And then to further understand this, let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 7. All right. Okay, so as you can see here in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 7, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right. The word that came to Jeremiah, or Yemiyahu, right, from the Lord, which is the Most High Power, saying, verse 2, stand in the gate of the Most High's powerhouse and proclaim there this word. Okay, what is the word? The scriptures, right? And say, hear the word of the Most High Power, all ye of Yehuda or Yahweh that enter in at these gates to worship the Most High Power, which is in Jerusalem, right? Verse 3, thus saith the Lord of hosts, which is creation, the power of Yasharal, amend your ways and your doings, right? If you look up the definition of amend, that means to repent, basically, right? To stop the ways of your doings. And I will cause you to dwell in this place, all right? Which is in Shamayim, heaven, their own land, right? Verse 4, trust ye not in lying words, saying, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Most High, the temple of the Most High are these, all right? So this is what our people are saying now, man, right? Our people are going around talking about, oh, this is the church of God, right? The Pentecostal church, okay? You got people going around talking about the church of the Most High. It's the Jehovah Wickedness church, which is Jehovah Witness, right? The Lutheran church, right? The Mormon church, which is the morons, all right? If our people are following that, man, especially the people in the faith, they talking about that the Book of Mormon is a part of the Bible, man. And that book clearly has racism in there. It's white supremacy in that book, man. And then you got some of our people going around talking about that that's the book of the Most High. Really? Okay, so this is what's going on, man, right? A lot of our people are saying the Seventh-day Adventist church is the church of the Most High, right? They're going around saying that the Roman Catholic church is the church of the Most High, right? The Masjid, the mosque, okay, in Islam is the church of the Most High. And all of that is false, man, right? Verse 5. For if ye thoroughly amend your ways, okay, thoroughly, meaning come back to the Most High wholeheartedly, right? And your doings, which is wickedness, all right, spiritual adultery, if ye thoroughly execute judgment between a man and his neighbor, meaning that you're supposed to be judging righteously your people who's in sin, willful sin, right? Verse 6, if ye oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, and shed not innocent blood in this place, or you could say your people, right? It doesn't necessarily mean have to be the land of Jerusalem, but amongst your nation of people, man, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negro descent, right? Neither walk after other gods to your hurt, Okay, so this is what's going on now. The Most High is letting us know, man, whenever we follow other gods, it's to our hurt. Okay, whenever we follow Krishna, Shiva, Madhava, it's to our hurt, man. When we follow so-called Allah, which is really Allahayim, right? Or Yah Allahayim in the ancient Hebraic tongue, right? Which is power, by the way. That's the true name. When you follow it in the name of Islam and Muhammad, then it's to your hurt, man. When you follow Fuchsius, okay? When you follow Buddha, when you follow your so-called secret societies, right? Your ancient Greco-Romanism, philosophy, all right? Being a polytheist, worshiping multiple gods, okay? That's to your hurt, man, right? Verse 7. Then will I cause you to dwell in this place in the land that I gave your fathers forever and ever. Okay, so that's when the Most High is going to give us back our homeland, man. When we wholeheartedly come back to him and make us sovereign, right? Behold, ye, which is you, Israel, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians of Negro descent, ye trust in lying words that cannot profit. Verse 9. Will ye still murder and commit adultery and swear falsely and burn incense onto Baal? All right. And this is what our people are doing, man. They're burning their incense, which is their burnt offerings to the Most High, man. They continue burnt offering. Who they burning to? They burning to so-called Queen Isis of ancient Egypt, right? Horus, right? The sun god of Egypt. Okay. They're burning to Semiramis. All right, Nimrod, Tammuz, all right. In the Roman Catholic Church, they're burning incense to Virgin Mary, all right. And our people are all mixed up in there with that, okay. They're burning incense to their ancestors, right, and necromancy, okay. African panism, okay, self-projectory, all right. You're burning incense basically all to Satan. This is self-worship, man, right? And walk after other lowercase gods whom ye know not, verse 10, and come and stand before me in this house. Okay, so how can you be doing all of this wickedness and then talking about that you still serving the Most High, right? Which is called by my name, and say we are delivered to all these abominations. Verse 11. Is this house, which is called by my name, which is the people, right, become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, even I have seen this, or seen it, Salakia, saith the Most High Power. Verse 12. But go ye now unto my place, which was in Shiloh, okay, which is basically Shamayim, heaven, all right, which was our homeland, Jerusalem, where I set my name at first, and see what I did to it for the what? The wickedness of my people Israel, all right? It's not for breaking the dietary law or eating animals' flesh, all right? Verse 13. And now because ye have done all these works, saith the Most High Power, and I spake unto you, rising up early and speaking, but ye heard not. Okay, so how's the Most High speaking? He's speaking through me right now. Okay, telling you that the laws, statutes, and commandments are not done away with. Telling you that you're not supposed to be choice vegans, man. Okay, if you're going to truly serve the Most High, you have to give him those offerings, man, for his 3 major festivals and every single new moon. All right. But ye heard not. Our people shut their ears off to the laws of the Most High, man. And I called you, but ye answered not, in which they never do. All right. Verse 14. Therefore I will do unto this house, which is the house of Israel, which is called by my name, wherein ye trust, and unto this place, or the place, Salakia, which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I have done to Shiloh. All right. Verse 15. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim, all right, which is the northern kingdom. You know, Ephraim was the head tribe of the northern kingdom, which is of Joseph, him and Manasseh. All right, so Ephraim Man, I say in all of the northern kingdom, they was already in spiritual adultery and sin and fornication. So the Most High cast them out of his sight, and they became the original um, Gentiles, so to speak. All right, or Gentile minded. You could say the original Gentiles are the people of Japheth from Genesis chapter 10. All right, so Ephraim, they was been cast out of Israel, and they went into captivity in the land of Assyria, and they was there ever since. But when our people started sinning, they brought us away to ancient Babylon, which is presently known as Baghdad today in Iraq. All right, so as you can see here, just like I was saying before, as unfortunately a lot of brothers and sisters, they sort of like to twist that around, with the book of Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8, saying that the pen scribes is in vain, right? But that's not talking about how we're not supposed to be eating animals' flesh. That's talking about how our people was in sin. When we was in ancient Babylon, we was joined to the other nations, at least the 2/3 of our people, right? So when they joined themselves to the ancient Babylonians, they started keeping the ancient Babylonians' customs. Okay, so that's the reason why they pen was in vanity, because they started leading our people astray. They started telling our people that we don't have to keep the laws, statutes, commandments no more. Just as today, with all of these so-called pastors of today, the preachers of the church today, the so-called Christian church, right? They tell our people that we don't have to keep the Sabbath day. We don't have to keep the three major festivals, right? Because they've joined themselves to this society, man, right? And then, of course, it's all about this right here. So if they're not leading our people astray, then they're not going to get this right here. Okay, so this is what this is about, man. Speaking about in Jeremiah 8:8. It's not talking about how we're not supposed to be eating animals' flesh, because the Most High, he commanded us to eat animals' flesh, man. Right? In the book of Exodus, in the book of Deuteronomy, and Leviticus, and Numbers. Okay, those are the offerings that we have to give up to the Most High, man, every single high holy day and new moon. All right, so that's what that's talking about, man. All right, so as a matter of fact, we're going to get into that too, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. Okay, so here we go in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. And just to get the context for the purpose of the matter, right, we're going to start at verse 1, and it reads right here. Observe the month of Abi or Abib, all right, which is the first month of the year, which is between the months of March and April, towards the ending of March and the beginning of April, right, which is also the very first new moon of the year, all right. And keep the what? The Passover or the Pesach unto the Most High thy power, which is your power, your God. For in the month of Abi, the Most High thy power brought thee forth out of Mizraim or Egypt by night, all right, which is synonymous with bondage. Verse 2. Thou shalt therefore what? Sacrifice the Passover unto the Most High thy power of what? Of the flock, okay, and the herd, and the place which the Most High power shall choose to place his name there. All right, so what is the flock and the herd? That's your livestock, okay, your sheep, your bullock, your goat, okay, your rams, so to speak, right? Let's jump down to verse 7. And thou shalt what? Roast and eat it in the place which the Most High power shall choose. And thou shalt turn in the morning and go onto thy tent. All right. So, which is, during the wee hours or the morning, so to speak, right? Like after the evening, after the sunset, that will be considered the morning. All right. Because, at dusk, which is sunset, that's basically the beginning of the new day. It's on the brink of the beginning of the new day. Then after the sun is completely set, it's the morning. Technically, it's the beginning of the new day. All right. Even, according to the Gregorian timing or the calendar, 12 midnight, which is still pitch black night, it's the beginning of a new day. All right. You're not going to have someone going around saying that after 12 midnight, it's still going to be March the 18th, because after that stroke of 12, it's going to be March the 19th. Okay. So just as in the ancient Hebraic time, our start of the brand new day was when the sun was completely set. All right. So let's jump down even further to verse 15. And it says, 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Most High thy power, in the place which the Lord, which is the Most High power, all caps, shall choose, because the Most High thy power shall bless thee in all thy increase and in all the works of thy hands. Therefore shalt thou surely rejoice. Okay, so that's how the Most High is going to bless you if you're serving him, right? Verse 16, just like I was saying, the three major festivals, right? 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Most High thy power in the place which he shall choose. All right. All of the men of the nation of Israel, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Seminole Indians of Negroid descent. Right. So for your so-called pastor, okay, your so-called leader or shepherd of your flock, okay, in so-called religious Christianity, right? Now, for your pastor to honestly say, he's going to look at you with a bold face and say that they're following God, they love God, they follow Christ, right? They're keeping the commandments of God, right? Then how come your church never done that, man? How come your church don't keep the 3 major festivals? You got over 90% of the people in your church, they don't even know about the 3 major festivals. They won't even know where to go in the scriptures to find the 3 major festivals, man. Right? But as it's right here in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, man. Okay, and also in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. All right. And then also in the book of Exodus, chapter 12. All right. A lot of the congregation in your church, they won't even know where to find these things, man. Right. But you're the so-called head of your flock. You're the preacher, right? You're the pastor of your church, claiming to keep the ways of God, which is the God of the Bible, by the way, not your own personal made-up God, but you're claiming to keep the ways of the God, but you're not following the ordinances as you're supposed to, man. Right? So this is what's wrong with our people today. They think that they're keeping the ways of God and they're following the vain imaginations of their own heart, man. Right? And they're being led astray by these so-called pastors of the religious church, man. Okay, so that's my question that I pose to you pastors out there, you so-called Christian pastors, right? If you want to honestly say that you love God and you're following God and you believe in God, the God of the Bible, and you believe in Christ, you sincerely, wholeheartedly believe in Christ and you follow in Christ, man, right? Then how come you're not keeping the 3 major festivals? Okay, how come you're not keeping Passover? You're not keeping the Feast of First Fruits, which is coming up in the beginning of June. Okay, you're not keeping so-called the blowing of the trumpets. Okay, you're not keeping the Day of Atonement. All right, your Day of Atonement was Lent. Okay, that's according to ancient Babylonian custom and the ancient Greco-Roman Church, man, which is Roman Catholic. Okay, and which goes back into the Christendom Jesuits. All right, so and you're not keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, okay? And then on top of that, you can't say that it's a part of a different custom because it's a part of the same book that you're following, man, which is the Holy Scriptures, okay? So you can't say that it's a part of Judaism or Zionism or whatever, in which Zionism, it solely deals with the politics of Israel. Judaism deals with the Torah, which is the Tanakh, man. So it's not a part of a different custom. This is in the Holy Bible, man, which is the OT, in which you people refuse to read and follow, man. Right? So you can't say that you're truly serving the Most High and following Christ, and you're not keeping the three major festivals, man. Right? So back to our regularly scheduled programming in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. In the Feast of Weeks, okay, which is the Feast of First Fruits or the Pentecost, and in the Feast of Tabernacles, they shall not appear before the Lord empty, meaning that you got to have your sacrifices, man. Verse 17. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Most High thy power, which he have given thee. Okay, so this right here is also letting you know that the Most High, he understands every single body's condition, man. Right? He understands the circumstances that we in. So if you're able to give a certain amount, as long as you serving the Most High, he understands that, right? As long as you truly serving him in wholeheartedness, man, right? Let's jump down. Verse 20. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live and inherit the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Okay? So this is what the Most High is going to do, man. This, like I said before, from the book of Jeremiah, the 7th chapter, if you want the Most High to bless you, then you're going to have to start keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. I mean, it's written plainly right here, man, right? Let's go to chapter 14 in the book of Deuteronomy. So this right here is concerning the dietary law, right?